Boomer Zoomers, Boomer Zoomers, Boomer Zoomers, Boomer Zoomers. Connecting through Zoom is the way to go. So let's dive right in. It's Boomer Zoomers.
Guess what? It's our favorite time of the every other Thursday, our Boomer Zoomers, as we change gears and talk with our beloved senior citizens from the Senior Center down in Charlestown, Rhode Island, at their current events weekly meeting, which is a great meeting where they discuss all kinds of political views. And again, just as a reminder to all our viewers, that this is the group that was expelled by the town of South Kingstown for talking politics. It's for debating politics. Can you believe that? They were expelled and up in Charleston. There's a whole story on that. Check it out on Ocean State Current. All right, Bill Isabella, welcome back. You're our host of Boomer Zoomers. Tell us who's with you today.
Well, to my immediate left is Jack Nelson,
Lean in a little, Bill. Lean in a little, Bill.
The very handsome Jack Nelson, donning a wonderful hat. I say that with tongue in cheek because he's really not that handsome. And equally as unattractive is to his left is Ken McCourt, a regular visitor with us here.
All right. For some reason, the mic was cutting out, so I'd like you guys to get as close to it as you can when you do talk. But Jack Nelson and Ken McCourt, welcome, welcome to In the Dugout. Jack, is this your first time with us?
Nope.
You've been here before. I know Ken's a regular.
One other time.
Okay, good.
One other time.
All right. So what got your guys' goat recently was a debate in the United States Senate over legislation to provide over $100 billion to schools to harden those facilities, whether it's physical security measures or armed school resource officers. We're going to play a clip from Ted Cruz in that debate in just a minute. But Bill, what was your group so concerned about when it comes to that debate?
The main concern is this is money that had already been allocated. It was ARPA money, in other words, COVID money, which is languishing. And the proposal was to use a part of that to help harden schools. If you notice in the last school interdiction where the transgender girl there, she shot through the glass. The doors were locked. She just flew around, shot through the glass, entered the building. Had they had bulletproof glass, for instance, she'd have taken longer to get in, perhaps saving some lives. So why not use some of that ARPA money? And that is concerning to me. And secondly, why wasn't this picked up by any of the mainstream media that one party in Congress or in the Senate specifically, why one party did what they did and prevented that money from being used for that purpose?
Before I get to Jack and Ken, let me play a very short clip of Ted Cruz from that U.S. Senate debate. And here we go.
Propagandists in the corporate media. CNN will not have a panel sitting around discussing why is it that the Democrats simply do not care to defend their positions. Let me tell you, when there's a mass murdering and the Democrats stand up and give speeches and they point at Republicans and say, blood is on your hands, it's great political rhetoric. It's dishonest, but boy, it gins up their donors.
So he goes on to talk about how Democrats and Chris Murphy, the senator from nearby Connecticut, object without stating any reasons. And then when Ted Cruz challenged him on it, he got up and ran away from the Senate chambers. Jack, what is your concern when it comes to this issue?
Well, I was extremely irritated. That guy who said two words, I object. And no reason, nothing, just gets up and walks away. That is absolutely crazy. That's not acceptable. You know, if he's going to reject something like that, you ought to explain why. I mean, that is really wrong. I can't believe it. He wouldn't say anything. Not a word.
And apparently all it takes is one senator to say, I object, I'm going to hold a filibuster, and you can almost pretty much kill the bill. Ken, look, we can talk about gun control all we want, good or bad, but whatever we decide there, shouldn't we be hardening our schools?
I taught at a college in New Jersey shortly after Columbine, and we had an acting governor that came in, and he demanded that we have somebody with a gun on campus all the time. He was able to recruit people from local police, hostage rescue, SWAT teams. We even had state troopers on the campus of this college. And let me tell you, I pulled up, parked my car, walked to the main building. I felt comfortable. I felt warm that there was somebody on campus with a gun who could return fire.
You know, Ken, that's such a great point because we hear often how traumatized kids are. We just, in our prior segment, we talked about other ways that school systems are traumatizing kids by giving them all this age inappropriate, and divisive material. But they're also partly traumatized. They're afraid someone might come in and shoot them with all the,
Right.
So can't we at least, Bill, provide them a little comfort by knowing, like Ken said, there's an armed person there who can stop these maniacs?
Our last presentation with you, Mike, had to do with that September of 2018 article out of Popular Mechanics, who suggested a number of very inexpensive means by which you can either mitigate or prevent entirely an intruder from coming in the building. And this is very simple and not terribly costly. And we refuse to do that. And Chris Murphy, by saying I object, prevented that ARPA money, that $135 billion from being spent for anything but what he was for. So, and he actually, we don't even know why he objected, because he just simply walked out of the chamber. But it's reprehensible, absolutely reprehensible.
I see Martha Stamp moved in behind you. Hey, Martha, how are you, my love?
Yeah.
There she is.
Jack, Ted Cruz also pointed out that this is basically partisan politics
That's worse.
superseding the safety of our kids, that Democrats want an issue. They want to claim blood is on the hands of Republicans for not banning guns, and they want the political issue more than they want the safety of our kids. Did you think Ted Cruz went too far in making that assertion?
That's all they push. They push gun control, gun control, gun control. That's not the answer. That's not the answer at all. I personally, I would like to see, say, 10% of the teachers in a school department be carry guns. They're deputized, and they should be trained. Like once a month, they have to have training, and they could be just like a police officer. If they 10% of the teachers, that would at least, I think, slow it down. You can call the police, but they can't get there in time. And look at that other group that I forgot where it was. They stood outside while the kids are getting shot. They stood outside for over an hour. Well, that's crazy. That you got to have people into it. And then when they get in there, they don't know where the building is. Well, they don't know the building. What teachers would know the building. And I think 10% of them, and pay them extra. Give them a stipend or something and make them take lessons and learn how to shoot.
I'm going to jump in here. That, Jack, is precisely what this money could have been used for. At least slow down the progress of the intruder until the police do show up. We can have the conversation about arming teachers, and that's almost a separate issue. But this was very simple. Putting bulletproof glass in the way of that last intruder would have stopped her from getting in the building quickly. Maybe not prevented her entirely. Could have saved lives? Probably.
Yeah.
You're exactly right. It's not an either or proposition. We should
Right.
consider everything. Ken, let me go to you. I want to take you back to your high school days. So we're going back before the flood. Okay. So I want to take you back then when a kid was upset or mentally deranged a little, they didn't take guns and go shoot people. So two-part question. Do you remember there being so many mentally unstable kids? Part A and part B is, and when somebody was upset, I mean, it was pretty much just fist fighting, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, I agree with that. But I'd like to go back a little bit and make a statement that one of the things that they're saying is they can't find people to be able to be on campus that have any kind of training in terms of gun control or whatever. However, I venture the fact that, gee, if you talk to some of the people that have retired from either the police or the military, or who lost their jobs because they wouldn't get vaccinated, I would bet money that they would be more than willing to work for practically peanuts to be on campus. They've had the military or the police training behind them, so there's no need to have to retrain them. Just bring them up to speed in terms of the location that they'll be stationed at.
All right, I want to go to a related topic, which is now gun control, where the left wants it to go. And as you all know, there were a series of bills that were heard
Yep.
earlier this week in the Rhode Island House Judiciary Committee, and we had some Second Amendment advocates on Tuesday. So, of course, we had the traditional debate over gun control, but there was a new angle we talked about, and I want to add a third dimension to it. So we talked about the founder of Black Guns Matter, national, come in and said, you know, by doing this gun control, you're depriving the very people. Many
Yep.
Blacks live in the dangerous inner cities. You're depriving them of the right to be able to defend themselves. We had a woman Second Amendment. She goes, we're depriving single moms and women. Well, seniors, you guys got to be concerned a little bit about crime too. And don't you want to be able to adequately protect yourselves if that's your chosen method, Bill?
It's absolutely correct. I think today, more than ever before in my lifetime, I'm 73, and never before have I seen so much random, and this is the issue, random violence that just occurs. So I think it behooves us to put the criminals on notice, the bad guys on notice, that you don't know who you're messing with. But when you see signs posted in a campus, for instance, that say this is a gun-free zone, they can operate with impunity, correct? Because they know nobody has any weapons except them. So this is completely contrary to the way it should be done. I think having people armed and protecting themselves is necessary more so today than ever before. Regardless of your age or your sex, it doesn't matter. It's just too much. Carjackings are up all over the place.
Yeah, and the point being that the severe gun control acts harms the most vulnerable among us, right?
Yeah, right.
It obviously does. Jack, how do you feel about that?
Well, years ago when I was younger, they used to lock those people up. They had places for them.
Right.
And now we're infringing on their rights. So we can't let those crazy people running around. Those people push people into trains, you know, all kind of crazy stuff. It's not even logical. And those people should be put somewhere else. They should be somewhere. They should not be out in society. We're infringing on their rights. What about our rights?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Ken, your thoughts on that as a senior?
Well, yes, in terms of my own safety, but also the fact that I socialize, where somebody once asked me, would I really be able to shoot somebody? So I responded that if I felt that my life or the lives of my loved ones were endangered, I'd shoot in a heartbeat.
Yeah, that's a tough, it's tough to imagine any one of us doing that, but I think you're right. I think any of us have the natural instinct to defend ourselves and those we love. Bill, let me ask you this first, just quickly. Is this an issue you've discussed with your group?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, we have numerous times. Yep.
All right, so you're all boomers. You're mostly retired, I believe.
Yep, we are.
What would you say? You can speak for yourself if you'd like, each of you. But what would you say as far as firearms ownership among your group? What percentage would you guess actively keep a self-defense in their homes?
I'd say 10% or less.
Okay, all right. Do you think it's because they're not concerned or about the crime or danger? That's a low number. I mean, to me, I don't know if that's low, or do you think they just don't want their
I don't think apathy
afraid
is
of
the answer.
firearms?
I don't think apathy is the answer there. I think that they've never fired a weapon, for one. I think many of them have never done so, and they've never been trained, and they may feel that this is maybe not the best time for them to learn how to fire one. But I can tell you one thing. I said 10%, but the 90% that I believe don't have weapons at home, I believe that they would like to have, but they just don't know the whereabouts and how to get it done.
Let me ask Jack. Ken, I think we've spoken to you. You don't have to answer if you don't want, but I think you've had some experience with firearms.
Yes, I have.
So for a senior, Jack or Ken, either one of you talk here. What would be appropriate for a senior to have? Like my father he's 90. He wants to get a shotgun. Like,
Oh.
I don't think you could handle a shotgun now, with the kickback. So
Okay.
what would be the appropriate self-defense weapon for a senior? And then we'll end our interview here.
I think it's like a small 22 or 25. Just something. I don't know. Bill could know about better than I do on that.
The small 380, Sig Sauer makes a great little, it's a compact weapon. The 380 is effective. They call it a belly gun. So you're not going to shoot across 100 feet and shoot the guy or shoot the aggressor. But if the aggressor has got his hands on you or about to put his hands on you or threaten you with a weapon, something like that, you could draw and you could actually pump up a couple of rounds without the thing falling out of your hand.
The shotgun would be too over.
Shotgun,
overdosed.
Yeah, I agree with that. Jack, I'm a little concerned with the semi-automatics, as again with the strength. Sometimes pulling back that clip to load the round. Would a revolver be better for a senior, Jack? I mean, Ken, do you think?
Well, I have a revolver, but
Yeah, I have both, but the thing with seniors and guns is twofold. Number one, a lot of us, as we get older, develop certain physical ailments like arthritis.
Right.
So that being able to hold a gun and maneuver it is difficult.
Right.
The other thing is that aside from the arthritis, there may be a weakening in the bone structure, and that if you have too powerful of a handgun, the recoil may actually cause you more harm than the victim.
All right, so it sounds like a small caliber revolver might be the best weapon for someone who might be suffering a little weakness or a little arthritis. Wow, that is a great revelation. I didn't expect to go there, but I think that's going to be a real interest to other seniors and family people watching this. Guys, we're out of time. We had to go a little short today, but
That's
Bill
fine.
Isabella, Jack Nelson, Ken McCourt, always a great discussion with our Boomer Zoomers. Have a great meeting today.
Thank you, Mike. Good seeing you again.
Thank you.
All right, the Boomer Zoomers from the Charlestown Senior Center, and you, our beloved In the Dugout fans, thank you for tuning in today. Some really heavy stuff we covered in today's session, and I hope you'll share it with your friends. So for In the Dugout, Mike Stenos out. See you next game.